What's up, everybody? It is your Unk back again. So, a couple things. They recently. So, they just released Perfect Cell versus Metal Sonic on Death Battle. And can I just say that, man, the quality. Because, I mean, I don't want to brag, but, I'm old. And I literally was there when Death Battle first came into existence. I was there because it used to be a part of a website called screwattack.com. And I wasn't there when Screw Attack came into existence per se, but I was definitely there when Death Battle became a thing. And man, oh man, oh man, it is crazy just to bear witness to how far the quality of the show has come, from just kind of crudely animated sprites to now just full on 3D animated spectacles. Like, I know sometimes they go 2D, sometimes they do the sprites, which is good. Honestly, I'm glad that they break up the art style, I guess we'll say. It's not always a 3D model, it's not always a sprite, it's blah, blah, blah. But let me just say this. If you were to take a gun, if you were to take a gun and hold it up to my head and say, only one franchise can live, the other must immediately die, Dragon Ball Z or Sonic the Hedgehog, you have to pick one. I got some bad news. I'm probably not going to live to see them. I'm probably not going to survive that because I'm just going to sit there and look at the guy and just shrug my shoulders and be like, I don't know what to tell you. Because, I grew up with Sonic. And I was Sonic's prime target demographic. I was 5 years old or something like that when he came on the scene. But then Dragon Ball kind of defined my teenage years too. So that was a big deal also. Having said all of that, though, I am the kind of person who's I love both of these series, but I'm not one of those people who gets. So, say for example, going back to Death Battle, they've done Goku versus Superman 3 times. They've done a trilogy, and Superman wins every single time. Now, if you held a gun up to my head and said DC or Dragon Ball, I'm picking Dragon Ball. Sorry, y'all, I'm picking Dragon Ball. But I'm not one of those rabid fans who gets upset when I see that kind of stuff. Superman's pretty freaking OP. The old writers for Superman would literally give him powers as he needed them. You can't get more busted than that, And even as time's gone on and the comic book writers have taken the series a little more seriously, he's still busted. He's Superman. So when he loses or when he wins over Goku, I'm not upset about it. I understand. Same thing for, again, this was my thought process before I even seen the video. I get it. Perfect. In my brain, I was already prepared for Perfect Cell to just come out on top, decimate Metal Sonic. Because, again, I'm not one of those fans who's my love for the series doesn't blind me to the realities of it. I'm pretty sure most of the Dragon Ball Z cast could destroy most of Sonic's cast. And I love both of these series very, very much. I am aware of most, if not all, of the feats Sonic's done, and Goku, and every other character in those respective series. But man, I was shocked. I was shocked that they gave the dub to Metal. I genuinely shocked. Like, I thought this was like an open and shut case. Like, Perfect Cell, he wins, boom, end of story. I guess for me, I severely underestimated that life form copying ability that Metal has. And I don't even know if that's like, do they exclusively keep that? So in the actual like continuity of Sonic and Sega, is that something that only Neo Metal can do? You know? Because I feel like that's the only time it's ever come up is, Sonic Heroes, and then the very first arc, if you will, of the IDW Sonic comics. So that's pretty nuts. Like, I guess they severely underestimated that ability, because he pretty much became Perfect Cell, and Perfect Cell was all of the Z Fighters. Therefore, Metal Sonic is now all of the Z Fighters. That's nuts. I never thought of that. But anyway, it was really cool. Like I said, it was really well animated. The dialogue was good. It wasn't too campy. I loved the freaking callback / homage to Team 4 Stars Abridged, because that Cell in the Abridged series has like this personal hate boner vendetta for Tien from when Tien nearly killed himself trying to kill second form Cell. And I love how they did that when Neo Metal Sonic was setting up a tri-beam, and Cell's just like, don't you dare. You guys gotta watch it if you haven't seen it. It's pretty freaking funny. It's just watching Cell's reaction, looking up at him like, don't you dare. Don't. It cracks me up. It's funny. It's freaking funny. I loved it. But having said that, Death Battle just recently had its 200th episode, and so they were doing like a podcast live stream type deal where they were pretty much talking about like going back and looking at their history and looking at some death battles that they were like, some death battles that they personally feel like, yeah, we kind of screwed it up there, And, that prompted me to rewatch quite a bit of them. And, ironically, the one that sticks out to me where I personally feel like they just fumbled bad was actually one of their more recent ones. Was Dante versus Clive. Now, I'm not... See, the thing about being a fan of Final Fantasy is, like, kind of hard to be a fan of Final Fantasy because Final Fantasy is always changing. Final Fantasy VII is a little bit like 8, but ultimately not really. 8 is nothing like 9, 9 is nothing like 10, 10's nothing like 11, etc., etc. So it's kind of hard because your favorite Final Fantasy is most likely a one and done thing. I mean, obviously we now live in a world where the Final Fantasy VII got its remake, sequel, whatever. And Final Fantasy X was, as far as I'm aware at the time, the only numbered Final Fantasy to get a sequel. But even then, Final Fantasy X-2 don't play nothing like Final Fantasy X. The remakes don't play anything like the original Final Fantasy VII. So I say all that to say this. I don't know dick about Clive. I don't know nothing about Final Fantasy 16. I don't know nothing about it. I know nothing. Other than it kind of reminded, like I was watching, some footage of it, some little bits of the story. And it did kind of remind me of Attack on Titan, of all things. Because there are characters who can become back in my day, they were called summons or aeons. Basically, instead of you having access to summons, certain characters can become the summons themselves. Like Attack on Titan, some of them can transform. Outside of that, that's all I really know about 16. Devil May Cry, on the other hand, I know a ton about because I freaking love Devil May Cry. Now, I remember sitting there watching the death battle between him and Dante, and I'm just like, I was just so confused because Dante should have more than enough tricks in his bag to put Clive away. And again, I'd have to rewatch it again. But if I'm not mistaken, basically they said Clive wins. Not even really wins, just kind of like survives. Basically, they were suggesting that Clive just survives / wins because of like his will to fight for his friends and junk, or his whatever, aka anime power of friendship bullcrap. Now, I'm sorry, but Dante, sure, he's not as vocal or doesn't really show all that often that he cares about his friends, but the 2007 anime of Devil May Cry, not that new one that sucks balls. The 2007 anime really did kind of show a different side of Dante, who clearly does care about Trish, Lady, and then later Nero. And so it's like, if you want to talk about the will to fight and to go on, like using the power of friendship bullcrap, like Dante should have access to that too. Then, like in all honesty, as much of a cop out as it would have been, I think I would have preferred that one just end in a draw. Because I don't know everything. Like I said, I don't know everything about 16, so there could be some shenanigans there that I'm not understanding. But it's just like, on paper and based on the knowledge that I have, there's literally like almost no one Dante should be able to, not be in a fight. And another thing that they had pointed out was that, like, they basically brought in actual gameplay mechanics for that one. And they were basically saying, like how I said, like, in 16, they transform into summons instead of summoning the creatures. And so that kind of, like, acts like a devil trigger in Devil May Cry. And so they were basically saying, like, well, Clive's transformation gauge runs out less fast. It has way more hang time, and so therefore he would be able to stay transformed longer than Dante. And it's just like, dude, like, the people who made Devil May Cry have already stated that Dante could if he wanted to stay in his Devil Trigger form for as long as he wants. It's just handicapped for gameplay purposes. I think a lot of people kind of like don't realize is that Dante's actually balls to the wall, way more powerful than even us, the players, can make him. Because if he was allowed to be at full power when we take control of him, it'd be like playing a boss character. He literally has to be nerfed for us, the player, to have a challenge. Otherwise, the game wouldn't be nearly as fun or complex. But going back to the death battle stuff, just in general, like, man, they've just, like I said earlier, they've come a long way. Like, the animation and stuff is so much cooler. Like, the Doomslayer versus Master Chief. I guess I didn't know, but apparently that's actually like a rematch. I didn't realize that, because they already did it way back when. I had just forgotten about it, I guess, but they did it with like sprites all the way back in like the 2000s, and they gave it to Chief over the bubble shield. And yeah, I remember that's kind of how he won. Doom guy tried to use the rocket launcher or something, and he blew himself up because Chief used the bubble shield, something to that effect. Those are two other series that I really love a lot, like Doom. And Doom, that's something I've only gotten into recently. I bought the 2016 remake because it was on sale on the Switch, and I was just like, dude, this game is sick. And then I literally purchased it like right before Eternal came out, or it was like right after Eternal had came out. And so I was like, dude, this game is sick. So I forget, after I beat it, I bought Eternal. I bought the Dark Ages. Like, I am a new Doom fan within the past, 10 years? Dang. Oh my God. I am just, holy crap, I'm old. Doom, the remake, the reboot is 10 years old already. Oh my God. That's grim. That is grim. Ugh. I just made myself depressed. Anyway. But I grew up with, I keep saying grew up, but that's not entirely true. I had a similar situation with Halo. Halo 3 was coming out, and everyone was building up all the hype, and I'd never touched a Halo game up until that point. So I went down to GameStop and bought the first two for like less than $30 on the original Xbox, and I was like, oh yeah, this is good, this is fun. I enjoyed it. I really loved the sticky grenade mechanic. I think that's what definitely got me like hooked on its gameplay loop. And then, Halo 2 just kind of took everything Halo 1 did and cranked it to 11. And yeah, I had a great time. And so I ended up getting hyped all over. I was going to say all over again, but basically it made me hype for 3. And now I knew why. Like, it made me understand, like, oh, okay, like, this is a big deal. Like, it ended on a cliffhanger, blah, 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 blah. I'm derailing myself here a little bit. But anyway, I say all that to say this. Like, I really enjoy both Doom and Halo. And, like, I am not at all pissed off at the outcome that Master Chief got destroyed. And especially after the reboot and Doom Eternal, like, I 100% understand why Chief got murked. It makes sense. I would have been irritated if it was the other way around. But anyway, like, I'm just really glad that we even have a freaking, like, Give me a second here. I'm trying to articulate a little better. Basically, I'm just glad that Death Battle exists at all. Because, I mean, if you guys don't know, maybe you do, maybe you don't, but like, Death Battle should have gone the way of the dodo like at least 2 different times. Because Screw Attack went under, and then Death Battle kind of went solo. Then it got picked up, and RWBY got picked up by some other company. Oh, was it Rooster Teeth? Yeah. Rooster Teeth went under, and they sold RWBY off to whoever, and they looked at Death Battle and were like, meh, kind of shrugged their shoulders. And so now Death Battle is, as far as I'm aware, it's like purely fan funded, which is dope. Unless they get like sponsorships or whatever, which they do sometimes still. And I'm like, dude, like Death Battle is like, it's not the end all be all, because they're obviously like YouTubers who got their own career started by like debunking some of those older videos. But even still, like Death Battle, I feel like is, I don't know about nowadays if it's as integral, but man, dude, like it was such a big impact on like nerd culture in the 2010s. Because again, like this, it started in like, I don't know, what, the mid 2000s? Sorry, I'm trying to change lanes over here without hitting nobody, and this car is just taking their sweet, sweet time. Anywho. Yeah, that's all. I just like kind of reliving a lot of the Death Battles and stuff. And like even like the other good thing about Death Battle is like it helps other people discover new series. For example, like I watched the Deku versus the guy from Black Clover. I don't know dick about Black Clover, but because he won, I'm now interested in seeing what his anime is all about. And the same thing goes for like other video game series and other shows, and it really does kind of help expand nerd culture and media as a whole. Because like I said, like if the character you love lost or was given a run for their money, that it makes you, at least me anyway, it made me inclined to like, well, who's this guy? You know, who is this character? Who is this person? I don't know. I guess just, I don't know. It's weird. I'm just kind of having a moment, I guess. Like, I'm really like, dang, like that show is so cool, and I'm really happy that it's around and that it didn't freaking get axed like it could have. But anyway, that's all your unks got for you today. Just kind of reminiscing about Death Battle and all of its glory. Let me know down below what was your favorite Death Battle, and what Death Battle did you think was just a flop. Like, everything about it was wrong. They got this wrong, they got that wrong. And, you know, while we're at it, I mean, like, what other Death Battle rematches could we see in the future that are actually, like, warranted, you know? Because, like, the Goku Superman one makes sense. Goku keeps getting new transformations. He keeps getting stronger. And then, obviously, like, the Doom Slayer and Master Chief, like, that makes sense. Both of them had new installments in their games, pushing the narrative and the characters forward. So let me know who needs a run back, and let me know which one you think was a flub, and I will catch you next time.